Hello, guys. Charlie Coiner here. Kendall's been helping you out with the mic check, and glad to see we have a lot of returning special teams coaches here. Recognize some of the names from the past couple of weeks. I'm pretty fired up about this one right here. I think it's one of the most undercoached plays in football, and I hope we can help you steal a couple games maybe even tonight with this. But for those of you who are new to this, we will get started right at 9 o'clock, just like Kendall's been saying, and we get right to the football. I just want to kind of give you some of the, not necessarily ground rules, but just how we do it. We're going to have a lot of coaches on here. So what we try to do is we try to take all the questions at the end. Kendall will be on here the whole night. She'll be in charge of the chat area. So if you've got a question as I'm going through it, you can go ahead and put it in the chat area. Kendall will start organizing that, and that way we can get right to the questions as soon as I'm finished with the presentation and the video and whatnot. So, and don't be shy. That's what it's here for. We've had a great 5 weeks. This will be once again, I think this has got a chance to be our best one. So, make sure that you get all of your questions answered. And if I can't answer them, I'll go to work tomorrow and try to find out some way that we can answer them. So just like Kendall said, we'll start right at the top of the hour and just try to get through as much as we can before we get to the video and take questions. Here we go, guys. My name is Charlie Coiner, and I'm the owner of First Down Playbook. I'm also a 30-year coach. As I've told you guys for the past 5 weeks, the ones of you who have been on here, I owe a lot of my background to special teams, and it's dear to me from a standpoint of, just how much it's helped me with football, and it's been dear to me as far as keeping me employed at a lot of places. And I would strongly encourage you, if you're a young football coach out there, get good at it, because it'll keep you hired in times when you wouldn't be otherwise, and it'll also win you a lot of football games. So you've already been introduced to Kendall Atcho. She'll be on here tonight with me. She's the Chief Operating Officer for First Down Playbook, does most of the work, and once again, we try to do our best each week to get through as much as we can a phase of special teams to help you. Now, we're going to talk about PAT, field goal defense, tonight. Some people call it PAT, field goal block. I've always been partial to calling it point after attempt and field goal defense, because there's a lot more to it than just blocking a kick. And you're going to see tonight, just how much it can be coached. Now, I am a firm believer in this play, and we try to stay away from the philosophical part of it. But at the same time, I think this play right here is a play that you have got to coach maybe your coaches, but you've got to coach your coaches and your defensive players to understand that it's a psychological play. If you stop and think about this play, you can get it coached up, you can have the best technique, but it is an effort play. It is a effort play that you can talk about effort all you want to, but if you don't talk about the things I'm about to tell you, I think you're going to fail and not have great effort, because it's an emotional play. You're going to be coaching guys that are going to be on the field when one or two things have just happened. And both of them are reasons in the mind to let up and take a play off. The first thing that's going to happen is that if your defense has stopped the offense and now you're going to be defending a field goal. So there's a natural, just human nature to where you're going, okay, we didn't give them the touchdown. Now we just got to, play it safe, make sure we don't get a fake here. Wrong attitude. The attitude, you've got to go ahead and instill that in them that, hey, you stop them from the touchdown, you got to steal the 3 points too. You got to steal the 3 points, and odds are you can, because they're disappointed. Those big guys on this side of the ball over here are the same people that just probably screwed something up on third down. So you have a chance to mentally take over this play right here. Now, the one that's really even harder than that is an extra point. You've just given up 6 points. Somebody screwed up somewhere probably, and you've got to go to the next play. You've got to give great effort on the extra point. We've all been in a game. If you haven't been in one of these games, that just means you haven't coached long enough. But we've all been in a game where we look back at the end of the game and went, man, second quarter, blocked extra point. Second quarter, missed extra point, and that was the difference. And so it changes the way you play the rest of the game too, because your scoring chart, whether you go for two, whether you kick the field goal, what you do, it all changes when 1 point goes one way or another. So I am taking a little bit of time tonight to talk about that, because if you don't coach that up, they're not going to be mentally prepared for it. And a lot of your coaching high school guys, I'm telling you, I've coached in college and the NFL, it's hard to coach at that level with it, but you can. You've got to talk to them about next play, next play, next play. Get ready to play the PAT field goal defense. Right now, and once again, I challenge you all that if you're defensive coaches out there, if you really coach your kids hard and you really take great pride in how hard your defense plays, I know a lot of coaches at very high levels that will tell you, you turn on the video and you see a team play hard on this play right here, that means that they're going to play hard every play on defense. You take that for what it's worth, but I think there's a lot of merit to it. Now, the other things that come along with this play that are worth mentioning, it's a hard substitution play just for what we talked about. Now, I think there's some advantages to getting some personnel in the game that can do some of the things. If your corners can't come off the edge and execute the technique that I'm going to talk to you about, maybe you got a special cat that's a receiver. Maybe you've got somebody that's, has a special just a knack for taking the ball off the foot. Then you need to try to get them in there. If you go and you want to put in a leaper, we've all got that, well, we don't all have it. We all wish we had that tall, 6'6" receiver that can go up and get it on the fade. Well, you still can use him here if he'll go up and put his hands and get the correct geometry to block it. Other than that, be real careful, guys. I've been a part of special teams units to where we got so position specific that we looked up there and sometimes we had 10 and even worse than that, we had 12. And you don't want to get into that. I mean, that just destroys everybody's confidence. So make sure that if you're going to substitute, that you do so because you have a special cat that you're trying to get in that game. Otherwise, keep the guys on the field, coach them up to get done what you want to get done. Now, as you're looking at this right here, a lot of different ways you can do it. This is just a basic right call right here. Imagining that we are on the defensive left hash. And as you go into first down playbook, you're going to see that essentially we've got their alignments here. You'll see that the nose, we've got the coaching points say head up on the snapper. A lot of you can't do that anymore. So what we've got, shade weak if the rules prohibit, we've got him over here. But essentially, if you could put the nose head up, the nose would be head up, the tackle would be head up on the guard, on and on and on. And then you've got head up techniques out here, tackle, in, backer, all right, and then you've got safeties and corners. Now, just a pretty generic deal, all right, as far as how you're going to get lined up to bounce. Now, you're going to adjust this to what you're trying to get done. And the other thing that you're going to adjust it to is always the geometry of it, all right? It's an important word. It's an important thing to teach your players. Look at where the ball is. Look at where the goalpost is. I've seen people line up at high levels of football and execute the most perfect block, but unfortunately, they were blocking it if the goalposts were over here, somewhere between the hash and the sideline. That ain't where the goalpost is. The goalpost is over here, so regardless of what block you've got called, you must teach everyone, particularly your Mike Backer, because he can get these cats up here straightened out, that you've got to see where the ball's going to be kicked, and you got to see where the goalpost is, and everything else that goes on needs to intersect those 2 points where the ball's kicked and the goalpost. Of course, you don't know if the ball's going to be on the left side of it or the right side of it, and you can't control how high it comes off of the grass. But I will promise you this: if you're over here blocking where it's not even where it's going to be missed anyway, you're wasting your time. So teach them about alignments. Teach them about geometry. It sounds commonsensical, and it is, but oftentimes you'll see where it's not coached. Okay, now, the thing that you have to do right off the bat with this is just like punt return. You better coach formations first. And the thing that's a little bit different about this from punt return is you need to count everybody as eligible, all right? Even your kicker, whereas when we did punt return, we counted one of them as the quarterback. So let's go over here. Mike will take you through all of them. But here's an example. I'll blow it up here first for you before I get into the coaching notes. The way we coach it is count from the outside in. Corners have 1, backers have 2, all right? The Mike Backer in this situation's got 3, all right? This safety's got 3. This backer's got 2, just because of the way the formation's set up here. I probably picked a bad one to show you. This is sort of like a swinging gate, but the count still is the same. 1, 2, 3, outside in. 1, 2, 3. And when that happens now, you have to stay with that guy no matter where he goes. Obviously, the ball has to get snapped to somebody. So you need to have somebody forcing it. All right, and this would be the person right here that's got whoever's going to take the snap. And then you got to have somebody to cover down. Now, you have to know who's eligible. You have to talk about that. Snapper's not eligible in this situation, but these other guys are. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you'll look in First Down Playbook, essentially what we've done is this. You come out and you get lined up in whatever PAT field goal defense you're going to be in, but then you need to have a check base call, meaning that whatever you've got called, if they come out in something funky, you need to go ahead and check your base block or your base defense, because you don't need to take chances, particularly in a field goal situation like this, and give up 7 points or 6 points. So here's what our rules were. If they came out and lined up in any kind of spread, all right, we checked base. This was base for us. All right, if they shifted to any kind of offense or unusual formation, check base. Don't play around with it. And then if the field goal defense gets called on the field versus the offense, regardless of what they do, all right, whatever formation, if it's the offense, there's a quarterback out here and you don't have a timeout and your folks are out there, check base, check base. Don't even mess around with it, okay? Then find all the eligible first, just like I was talking about, corners, backers, safeties, bounce up, and you'll see all of our rules right here. Now, motion, you just stay with your man, kind of common sense right there. And if you go into First Down Playbook, and let me just back up here real quick before I leave this one. And I've got most of these already. You'll see that we've got a lot of these covered, okay? These are already covered for you. So we got base. There's an overload alignment. If you got a man over, we talked about that with PAT field goal last week. Your motion adjustments out of multiple formations, swinging gate, you know, a lot of different things that can happen out there. But once again, guys, have rules. Have rules, count from outside in, and that's all right here in First Down Playbook. All right, let's go back up here and open up another. Let me get the Zoom stuff out of my way. Y'all can't see that, but I can. Okay. Don't want to get into all of our calls, but this was just I mean it is in first down playbook, but this is just a basic right or left call. And once again, I don't think you need to get overly complicated with your calls. I'm going to show you a lot of techniques tonight that you can go in and utilize for whatever you want to do. But at the same time, once again, you want to make sure that you can get lined up and that you can execute what you're calling, because a lot of times you're going to get a swinging gate, along some polecat, you're going to get all kinds of formations, motions, and then they're going to come right back and line up here and kick the extra point, hoping that you're not disciplined enough to reset it, all right, reset your defense. So all we did with a right call is, and this would probably happen more over here on the defensive left hash, is the right call just meant that your tackle and your end, we're going to execute drive techniques. You're going to drive into the A gap. I'll show you that technique in a second. End is going to drive in the B gap. Your backer is going to knock, all right, this tight end. And what that is, this is a physical play. I mean, you're coming off, getting up underneath his pads, and you're knocking his ass back. Because if you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to open up a seam somewhere for somebody. Now, at the same time you're doing that, you are responsible for covering him. You're going to cover him because with your physicality and with your hands. I've already showed you that you need to play with hands when you're playing with special teams. What you're going to do here, this is called a drive technique, or we're going to call it a bounce technique, but this is really just going to be a drive in this case right here. But your safety is going to take a step upfield and hit the crease. Now, there is a bounce technique to where the safety, and I'll show you that, will put his left hand on the shoulder pad of the tight end, his right hand on the shoulder pad of the wing, and he is going to bounce up. And when he hits the ground, he is going to bounce up again, all right, to get elevation to block the kick. Okay, now this is called a skim technique out here with the corner, and I'll show you that here in a second. This is going to be, most of the time, if you're coaching a high school kid, it's going to be a three-step deal. You're going to need to have them in a right-handed stance here because it's going to be right, left, turn. Inside, hard as you can. Inside, get your outside hand up to block the kick. Get your outside hand up. If you have a kid that wants to play over here and you want to block it and he wants to get in a right-handed stance, the only way that you can do that, guys, is if he can do it in two steps. If he can get in a right-handed stance and go right, left, turn inside to block it, you can do it. If not, if he's going to get in a right-handed stance over here and he's going to take 4 steps, you might as well go ahead and get your offensive lineman to do it because he's never going to get there anyway. So 3 steps with the outside foot back, 2 steps with the inside foot back. I've got some examples of that. And I'll show you, I'll get into more of the technique here in a second. But from a sound standpoint, you can see what we're doing here, right? I mean, we've got the eligibles are covered. You've got the tight end covered by that backer. You've got this wing covered by the Mike. Now, this Mike backer might actually be right up in the A gap right here as the ball snapped. He may come out late or whatever, depending on what you're trying to do. But he doesn't have to come over here and line up and give it away. Over here on this side, you've got the same thing. Backer's got the tight end. You got a safety on the safety on the wing, and then your corner out here is going to execute your scoop and score technique, and I'll get into that in a second. But just a basic thing, a basic block, excuse me. And guys, we've got all of that listed for every one of our blocks. All right, let's go through the techniques now. All right, your drive technique is just a basic deal to where you're not sacrificing anybody to knock anybody else back. It's just you're telling the guys inside that you're going to execute a power move in the A, B, and C gap, in this case right here. And essentially what it's going to be is on the snap, you're going to lead with your outside foot. So they would have their left hand down in this situation right here, all right? So what you want to do, guys, you remember last week I was talking about as an offensive lineman, you got to get your first step down, right? You got to get that foot in the ground before they do. Same deal over here. You want to take advantage of this tackle or this guard, if they're lazy and that foot's up in the air for just a fraction of a second more, you want to drive through and get your first step in the ground, and you want to get up under his pads with your inside, all right, pad, and then you want to get skinny. You want to get skinny, and you want to get your inside hand up, inside hand up, inside hand up. And what I'm trying to tell you is that as you get through here, you want to lean back inside, but you're actually going to show your eyes, show your front to the sideline. Same thing here on the inside, because your near hand has got a better chance, all right, of blocking the kick than your outside hand. Now, I'll promise you right now, you'll go back every Sunday and you're going to see somebody block it with the outside hand. But the best way, geometrically speaking, is that you've got to teach them that they've got to get penetration. They've got to fall back inside, get one hand up. If you try to get two hands up on a drive technique, you're not going to get the elevation that you need. The drive, penetration, and then elevation helps you get simple geometry. That ball comes off the ground. The deeper you can get your elevation, the better off you are. And you can actually show them the geometry, show them a right angle, show them the ball's kicked here. If they're back here, then they're not going to have a great chance of blocking it. So very important right here that you talk about getting one hand up, not two, because if you try to get two hands up, you won't get the elevation that you need. That's a drive technique. A knock technique, guys, is when you're going to sacrifice one of your players, all right, so that you can actually get that penetration with his body. So on the snap of the balls, all right, you're going to be low, all right, your hands are going to be low, your pads are going to be low. You're going to get up underneath this guard, and you are going to bull rush him straight back. You are not trying to block the kick here. Now, it is really hard to teach a kid to be that unselfish, but you need to teach them, once again, get your first step in the ground before they get theirs, knock them back. This is the guy who is going to swim in the A gap to block the kick, all right? And I'm going to talk to you about the swim technique in a second. But you need to, every now and then, let somebody sacrifice their self to get penetration so somebody else can block it. Now, a swim technique, and the way we taught it at the Bears, and a lot of what I'm showing tonight is some of the stuff that I learned from Dave Toub, who's now at the Kansas City Chiefs, and in my opinion, the best special teams coach in the league. His paycheck would say he is. But as I'm looking at it right here, a lot of the things that I'm showing you are techniques that we used at the Bears. And I'm going to show you some Tennessee film and a little bit of Kansas City here too. But a swim technique is just the other technique that you're going to use with that knock. So you've got to anticipate that he's only going to get so much done right here with that, because that guy gets coached too, right? And that guard is going to step down, interlock, just like I showed you last week. So what you've got to do is you've got to step at 45 degrees. All right, you need to stick that outside foot in the ground. And then once again, you need to try to grab the guard's pads, all right, with your right hand and pull yourself through. Use his shoulder pad to pull yourself through. Get skinny. Once again, turn your numbers to the sideline. Don't take your big, thick shoulder pads right through the A gap and think you're going to get through there. You want your left shoulder pad to be facing up and your right shoulder pad to be facing down as you get thin and get through the A gap. Once again, after you do that, penetrate and elevate on your third step. If you elevate, then you want to get your inside hand up to block the kick. Once again, not the outside hand, the inside hand. This is just called a swim technique along with a knock technique. Now, I'm going to just take you one gap outside, okay? Excuse me. I'm not going to take you one gap outside because I didn't bring them all in here. Here's what I want to teach you is that we called the very same technique, but if you did it out here and you were knocking the tackle, and let's say the end were knocking the tackle and the tackle were swimming, we just called it a beach, all right? Swim, beach, all right? B gap. And then out here, we call it C, S-E-A. Just trying to use, terminology, swim, beach, C. You use what you need to. But a C would be where the backer would be knocking the tight end, and the end would be swimming. So now you can also swim inside. In other words, the tackle could knock and the end could come inside. You use whatever terminology you want, but this is just a very common, all right, technique that you're going to use if you're going to block kicks. All right, let's go back out here more to the edge. A bounce technique. That's what I was just showing you a little bit before. A lot of different ways that you can do this. But the technique that you know, it's an alternative to a D-gap drive where you were just going to get thin, the same thing, and really penetrate this A, B, C, D-gap. This is a deal right here where your safety doesn't have to get quite as wide. What he's going to do, the first step is going to be at the inside leg of the wing right here. Now remember what's happening out here, all right, from last week. Typically a tight end is going to be doing a double bump. They're going to step inside, outside, all right, because they got to give help right here in the D gap. They got to give help out here in this crease. Excuse me, they got to give help right here in the C gap and give help right here in this crease. So what you want to do is get up the field and you want to plant that outside foot, and then you want to get your left hand on the wing shoulder pad, the right hand on the tight end shoulder pad, and you want to elevate and use those shoulder pads to get up and over, up and through. The key is when you hit the ground here, it's got to be like a jack in the box. It's bam, up, bam, up. And I mean, it literally is just, you treat the ground like it's hot right here, and then elevate back to the block point. And then you obviously need a little help out here on the edge. What I'm getting to show you is the skim technique. Here's the skim technique. I talked to you about it a little bit just a second ago. Once again, if you're going to do it from the left-hand side, you need to have a kid that can get in a left-hand stance because it's a three-point sprinter stance, outside hand and foot are down. When the ball is snapped, all right, you need to look inside. The first thing that needs to happen is this corner needs to be looking inside to keep everybody on sides anyway. But when the ball snapped, it's left, right, left, and then when that left foot hits, guys, it's got to be, all right, I'm going to Minnesota. Now I'm going to New York. I'm taking a right turn right here, hard inside. And then I am going to lean inside. I am going to turn my numbers to the kicker. All right. I'm going to show the front of my body to the kicker. And I am going to block this kick with my outside hand. Because if I turn my numbers to the kicker, guess which hand's going to be lower? It's going to be my right hand. My left hand is going to be higher. So I want to shoot my left hand through. As I take that left turn, left, right, left, boom, inside, I want to throw my left hand across my body into the block point. And it's important that you talk to all of them about where the block point is and stay out of the legs of the kicker. Keep your eyes open, all the common sense things at the bottom right there. All right, now, another technique that you can teach is a leap technique. All right, meaning that, and you got to be careful with this. There are different rules. You got the same thing going on here. You got 3 knocks. Now, the big thing about the leap technique gets into all that stuff I was talking to you about. Don't leap over here and the goalpost is over here. All right, if you're going to leap, call the leap to the field. All right, if the ball's on the hash, and regardless if the ball's in the middle, make the leaper get them lined up to where they can help him. But once again, a very unselfish play for the backer in tackle. Ball snap, drive their bodies back. You want to give the leaper the ability to leap on their side of the line of scrimmage, because if he is a special kid, if he does have special talents, he can actually change the geometry in your favor if he's leaping over here. All right, if he's leaping back here, no geometry in the world is going to allow that to happen if the kicker does what he's supposed to. So just common sense, get it lined up geometrically as far as the angle, and then you also want to get penetration so the leaper can start on their side of the line of scrimmage. All right, contain. Extremely important here, guys, because for a couple reasons. Last week I showed you where, I showed you a twirl technique to where, we were teaching our wings on the PAT field goal team that if no penetration came, just whirl back inside, help out late. And so, a couple things that happen out here with your corner. One is that you want to get wide enough. You don't always, you want to try to make sure that you don't really give it away, whether it's coming or not. So when the ball is snapped, all right, what you want to do is you want to make sure you attack this wing first. I mean, go attack him. If the wing does not pay attention to your corner and he comes back inside and helps out late, you're not getting this done right. All right, so you want to make sure he attacks. When the wing finally engages him, now you want to put your right foot in the ground and get with. What you don't want to have happen is have thump over here, the kick is blocked, and now the ball gets outside of him. It's still a great feeling, but you're out here. If he can actually have his pads facing in or up the field, this is a scoop and score attempt. Remember, guys, don't underestimate the fact that your personnel, if this guy right here gets the ball in his hands and he's a special athlete, which most of your corners are, you're sitting there looking at lineman, snapper, lineman, tight end, probably tight ends and wings right here, kicker, holder. You've got an excellent chance right now of taking it to the house. And we've all seen many a game decided that way. Okay, now I'm going to take you to some video here, but just want to give you, there are different situations, and I'm just going to take you to one situation. All right, anybody that's ever watched any football has watched the Auburn-Alabama game from several years back when Alabama lost a football game on this. And I've been a part of two of these in the NFL. Nathan Vasher ran one back against San Francisco 49ers when I was with Dave Tobe at Chicago. And it's an interesting situation. What it is, you're essentially just coaching up what we call bench alert, return bench alert. So here's the situation, and this is the only situation we're going to have time to look at tonight. They're trying a long kick right before half or a long kick right before the end of the game. So you've got a couple different ways to look at it. If it's a long kick, usually the first thing that hits my mind as a special teams coach is I want to get pushed in the middle, and I want to get a leaper in there because the kicker is probably going to try to drive it. If he tries to drive it, the ball's going to come off low. I'm going to have a chance to block it, scoop and score. But there is another way. And if you're playing in a situation where the guy just gets the ball up well, then this is a situation where you can call bench alert. It's called bench alert because typically what you want to do is you want to call it to your bench. And so you want to sneak a returner into the game, and they want to line up over here away from your bench. And then as they get ready going through their cadence, whatever they go through, now the returner is going to run back, and he's going to get back here to where if the ball is kicked and it's fieldable, now everybody is going to essentially go through and then wrap up and set a wall up. Okay? And we had a coach a couple weeks ago talk about the wall. Hugo, it might have been you. I can't remember, but this is the wall that we were talking about that week. I mean, yeah, you're coming up, and everybody, you got to be smart. But once again, remember the personnel that you're blocking here now. You've got a lot of linemen on the field right here. And you get this guy with some speed, and I can still, to this day, I've got a picture of it hanging on my wall in here of Brian Urlacher leading Nathan Vasher down the sideline right before halftime of the San Francisco 49ers game, and we scored when they were trying to kick a 30-some yard field goal into a Chicago win. Not a good decision on their part. But anyway, just a situation that you can have come up. All right, let's go take a look at the video here. What we got here, guys, is a good bounce over here. I think on the right side is where it is. Let's see. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. Let me just drag this right here. All right, so you see how 17 right here. He's coming off with his right foot. His left foot is in the ground. He's going to put his left hand on the tight end's pad, the right hand on the wing's pad, and he launches. And when he hits the ground, Sorry, guys, I was trying to navigate. When he hits the ground, he goes to the block point. All right, let's just let it run here and see if it. You don't have a lot of time now. There's no time. Once again, you can't be dancing or anything like that. It's up and down. Now he's got a good skim technique on the right-hand side. Let's look and see how many steps the right corner takes right here. Let's go 1, 2, 3. Now get inside. Got to go hard inside. Now, one of the other things about this play, guys, you know, everybody can do it exactly right. And if they do it exactly right, then, you know, oftentimes they're gonna be fine. But I'm telling you right now, you can get into the kicker's head and you can set a tempo with it. Let's take a look right here. 97. All right, right here in the A gap. Not great technique. No, you don't. You tell those guys you don't want to launch to get on their side of the line of scrimmage. Won't do you any good. Good scoop and score technique out here by 3. He's in good position. All right, I've got another one here. Let me fast forward it to probably this one here. Okay. Now this is right here. There's your knock technique. Now you can see how low the Mississippi State guard is, right? So 44, look at how low he's got to get. But when he does that, when he makes that guard be that aggressive and that low, it gives 97, and this is just a backwards beach is what it is. It gives 97 an opportunity. Now, 97 could get a lot thinner than that. I mean, you don't want to, you know, and that's not natural for a big man that's telling him to get thin. But he wants to get his numbers more to the sideline right there. If he would do that, he's got a chance to get through. Now, he does a good job of getting his inside hand up. And you see he understands the geometry of it. He's close right there. Whereas 98 over here on the left side, got no chance. He'll never get his big, thick body through there. So they've got to learn to get thin if they're the people that are actually going to be part of blocking it. All right, let me look at another one here. Let's go open up. Let's see. This is Georgia. Yeah, now this is not great technique really either right here, but this is the part about penetration I was telling you. All right, so he gets it, you know, don't get me wrong, I get it. This is not a great kick. But the thing that happens with 98 here is that he does get some penetration, and because he gets some penetration and then elevation, it gives him a chance to block, all right, this poor kick. But we've all seen those kicks like this. If you don't get any penetration, all right, and they go through. They look like a lame duck going through, but they still go through and count for 3 points. So just trying to show you the part about the penetration right here that's important. Okay, got I think I might have cut out the most important part of this. I hope I didn't. No, I didn't. Good. Okay, so let's just look at it. Here we go, because I know you guys get this in high school all the time. So you got a swinging gate. The way we defended swinging gate was this. Okay, once again, you want to cover down your eligibles. So let's look and see who's eligible right here. All right, you've got an eligible up top. The snapper's eligible. All right, you've got a quarterback or a kicker, holder, whatever you want. All right, you've got the end man on the line of scrimmage is eligible, and you've got this wing here is eligible. So you've got 6 eligibles. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. However you want to do it. So you've got somebody responsible for everybody there. Now, what we felt like is important always have felt like important with the swinging gate is get somebody outside of it, or the center, somebody outside the center, somebody inside, and always wanted to have somebody responsible for cutting the ball off. All right, if the ball is going to be snapped to this wing right here, we always wanted to have some player, maybe two, and they never got far enough into it. I believe this player right here would have been that player. But you want to have somebody that lines up when the ball is snapped, they sprint right up the field, and their job is to cut that ball off before it ever gets right here. And you might actually catch it mid-air and keep going. So you can cut off a lot of offense over here if you've got somebody that scares them to death to side snap this over here. So when they come back, the hard part, coaches, as we all know, is right now, we would get back to our block, all right? If they lined up like that, all right, that wasn't a check safe. We would have something for a swinging gate, and we would come right back and get into our block. Because half the time, that's why they're doing it anyway, just to get you out of your block. All right, let's take a look. I think we got another one on here. It's a beach. Okay, let's take a look at it from the end zone. Okay, it's going to happen right down here. You're going to get a knock. You're going to get somebody in the B gap from the outside. Whoops, that's not true. What you're going to do is you're getting a knock out here, and he's actually doing the beach technique in the B gap here. Let's take a look at his technique. All right, gets pretty good for, thin for a big guy. Now, the way he's doing it right here, because we're knocking out here, I don't think that's bad that he's got his outside hand up here, because what he's done is he's got his most inside hand, because he's turning, because of the way we're doing it, he's turning into the ball as opposed to turning to the sideline. But get elevation, get one hand up. All right. And then I think I've got one leaper on here, right here. All right, so guys, here's your geometry. All right, you've got the goalpost over here, and he could even be, in my opinion, once again, the video can last sometimes too, but almost like he needs to be over here. This is a receiver for us. Justin Hunter ended up playing some in the NFL, but we're knocking out here. We got a leaper. Now, these guys have to be unselfish. All these big guys in here have to be, we're getting penetration. We're allowing him to jump on their side of the line of scrimmage, and we want to establish a new line of scrimmage. Let's see what happens. All right, not bad. He could time it up better. He's late. It's just a matter of, of looking at enough video and understanding where that ball's going to be. All right, now just a couple notes before I get into questions here. Well, hold on, that's not. Let me do this. I got a couple. I want to show you a couple Kansas City. Once again, Dave Tobe, who I worked for at the Chicago Bears, is been a long time Andy Reid guy and is working there. And you can see some of the techniques. This is the first game of this past year against the Jaguars. So look at what's going on with this outside guy right here. He's trying to get inside, and what he's trying to do, and he stumbles, but he wants to get his right hand inside. Everybody else is just knocking. You can see they're trying to get a swim in this A gap, trying to knock here, trying to swim, take advantage of the snapper. Once again, you can have great effort, and a lot of times it's not going to work, but it's when it does that it makes it worth it. Let's take a look at one more here. Same game. All right, so here's your knock technique. They're knocking the tight end. All right, 97 is going to, all right, which would be swim, beach, C. They would call it a C stunt. And then he's going to get back inside. He understands the geometry of it. The block point's not out here. He's going to penetrate here, then fall back inside. Now, the thing he does wrong is trying to get two hands up. And I get it. His body is attached to his body, so the left hand's got to come to some degree. But if he can just get that right hand up, you can see where he gets the elevation right there. That's an NFL kicker, so that ball's going to get off the ground pretty fast. But there's your knock, and there's your C. And notice 91, knocking their right guard. Watch 91 knock their right guard. Up underneath is drive your feet. Okay, now, a couple things. Let me get back over here. Just a couple notes I've got before we get to the questions, but you go ahead and start getting your questions to Kendall. As a coach, guys, all right, study the operation. All right, it's your job to study all the things about the team you're playing so that you're ready for a fake. And that has to do with the operation. If you've got somebody that can go scout the team, tell them to be listening to what their operation is as they go through it on the field. I mean, you're in a high school situation, you should be able to hear what they say. Let your team know what they say. So if they say anything different, it'll give you a chance to maybe head off a fake. Know their personnel, all right? You need to know their personnel. If they sneak their best running back in here at wing, or their best receiver in at wing, you got to know that. Your corner needs to understand the number he's playing that week. Know their know anything about them that's different. Now, from a standpoint of getting everybody lined up, everybody wants to get as much of the ball as they can without being offside. It's the corner's job to tell them to get back. So they need to keep getting as much of the ball as they can inside until the corner tells them to get back. And that corner needs to be an authoritative player to tell them about that. I'm just looking at my notes here, guys. And then once again, I don't think you can coach angles enough on this team, whether it be the field, falling back inside the block or where the goalposts are. You've got to coach geometry or even the push so that you can get vertical to block the kick. Okay, guys, let's get to some questions here. Kendall, we got any yet?
We do. We had one that came in pretty early from Hugo in Mexico. So this one came in at 9:15, so it was one of the earlier plays. On right call, how far is the C from DE wing, and who is the force contained on the call side?
Okay, I just accidentally checked out of the right call, but let me go back here and find it. Let's go back over here and I'll open this up and get to the right call. I'm sorry, Kendall, ask me a question again. I apologize.
Right. How far is the C from DE wing, and who is the force contained on the call side?
Okay, that's a good question. All right, so let's go, where was the right call? Hit it down here, right here. This is the one we were talking about. Essentially, it's just a base safe. So, all right, this player right here, Hugo, we had him line up, and you can see right here, I think, with our notes, all right, he lined up as on top of the wing, head up on the wing. Now, your corner, you want them to line up, as tight as they can, but the thing about it is they're going to get vertical before they start inside anyway. So they're going to be, probably side by side. I mean, you want to get the the safety to be lined up on the wing. The backer is going to be head up on the tight end right here. And so the closer he can get, the better chance he's going to have. Now, because remember, if you line up really wide to get that angle, and that's what they're going to try to do, they're going to think they can line up wide out here and come off the edge. You're better off to line up a little tighter, okay, and be really within where you can touch this guy get up the field first, and then take that left turn I was talking about. Kendall, I need to ask you to read that one more time because I only got the first part of the question.
On right call, how far is the C from DE wing? And who is the force contained on the call side?
Okay, on the call side, well, the contain, all right, is going to be the corner out here, because if he's coming inside, I get what you're saying. If everything breaks outside, but you've got right here, you've got the backer going to cover him, and you got the Mike going to cover him. And so if it's a run play and they block, then this Mike backer is going to become scrape. Your backer here is going to become scrape, and you've got force inside. I mean, your blockers are going to be force. So if that ball comes up off the ground and it's a fake, all right, yeah, they might have launched, but it's going to be, you've got two guys in their face pretty quickly here. But then your Mike backer, depending on what happens, if they release outside for a pass, then obviously the Mike's got to cover it. The backer's got to cover it right here, right? But if they release outside for a pass, then you really don't have as big of an issue, because you've got pass rushers in the face right here. Now, if he rolls outside, you've got to get pursued inside out. You're not going to be, Hugo, you're not going to be perfect on it all from a standpoint of having, contain on just about everything. You're going to have contain out here. Now, keep in mind that this is just one. Let me go back here for a second, because it's a good question. That you want to line up like that, but at the same time, they don't need to understand that every time you line up like that, that's what you're running. I mean, you could also line up and just have essentially a safe call, to where you got contained to both sides. So you want to make them all look the same, but yeah, every now and then you just want to create the havoc that you're going to create with the rush on the kicker. Kendall?
That's the only question we have so far.
All right. Well, that might be the only one we had, guys. Give you a couple more seconds here. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about First Down Playbook, and Kendall will as well. But I just want to point out how much I've enjoyed doing the special teams part of it. And what we're going to do, and the reason I was talking to Dave Tobe today, is that when I was with him at the Bears, we used to, and he still does it. I asked him, I knew the answer to the question before I even asked it. We used to have a chart that we kept each week, and we gave points for, things that you wouldn't normally give points for. And so, like on a kickoff team, the points would be first guy down the field, inside that drew a block. It might be, a big block on the punt return or whatever. And so we had point totals at the end of every week that were a tremendous, and I can't use the word enough, motivational tool. I had players that were making millions of dollars come and yell at me each week because I cheated them on points. And that's how important that they thought it was. And we had some prizes involved with it too, but it was a thing that I think it would be very good for you, particularly as high school and college coaches that you use. So I'm going to put that in First Down Playbook. So please be on the lookout for that. And once again, I think it'll be something that you'll be able to use. And it gives you a way of holding your players and really holding your coaches accountable. It gives you a way to measure some things that you might just let go. We used to track the get off on the kickoff and things like that. So it keeps you focused on the things you need to be focused on that'll make you good on special teams. And I promise you that he is one of the best special teams in the league. So look forward to that. All six of the phases will be in the special teams area at some point, probably by late tomorrow. And once again, we're glad you all had an opportunity to attend this, but we also would like for you to be a part of First Down Playbook. Our direction with First Down Playbook has always been that we were going to start with plays. And so after that, we're beginning to expand now, as you will see, into more video. We're going to get more into technique. We're going to get more into, just fundamentals and things that go along with the plays. And so you can look for us to expand like that over the next several years. So please be on the lookout for that. Kendall, you got any a few things you want to hit them with here before we get off of here?
Yes, Charlie may have mentioned the recording of this clinic along with all of our past clinics are inside First Down Playbook for our members. And if you're not a First Down Playbook member, we're still offering 2-week free trials to all high school, college, and NFL coaches. And to get started on your free trial, you can click on the link that I just sent in the chat. And this link will take you to our webinar. Towards the end of that webinar, you will see a code that you can send back to us to claim your 2-week free trial. If you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us at the email address and phone number I also just sent in the chat at any time. And we do encourage you to try that 2-week free trial. You've got nothing to lose, and it's a great tool for coaches like yourselves. And Charlie, we do have another question.
Good.
Where do I have to return a field goal in case the ball were short on the kick? Field or boundary, like Auburn against Alabama a couple of years ago?
Well, the Hugo, that's kind of what I was talking about. What we always, you're in that situation. Think about that situation for a second, all right? And the ball's about to be kicked, and is the ball in the middle of the field? Is it on the hash? So what is an easy way to tell your players where you're going to return it? That's why we called it bench return. Always return it to your bench. It does a couple things. Here's 3 things it does. First of all, I don't know if the ball's on left hash, right hash, middle field, whatever. I know where my bench is. And so if we make a bench call, I'm looking at my bench, and if my bench is on my left, I'm in good shape. If my bench is on my right, I'm in good shape. The second thing is that as they're looking over to the bench, you're coaching them. I mean, you're going to be coaching the heck out of that play, and the other sideline may not even see what you're doing. And the third thing is, if you've got blocks happening, you want them to be happening in front of your bench and not the other bench. All right, because if it's happening on the other bench, everybody's screaming at the referee about clip here, blocking the back. But if it's happening on your side, they ain't getting that. So there's also just some, elements of using everything that you can to your favor. So that's why we didn't go left, right, field boundary. We called it bench return. Well, guys, it's been a heck of a lot of fun, and I mean that. First Down Playbook is going to be around for a long time, and we're doing a lot of good things there, and it makes me happy to do it. But when you're a coach, you're always a coach, and I've enjoyed being a part of this and getting to coach a little ball here over the past 6 weeks. So I hope you'll stay with us and keep up with our progress and be First Down Playbook coaches for a long time. Y'all have a good night. Be safe.